call this meeting to order.
Okay, this is the, just a chip in, this is the Zoning Board of Appeals semi-annual regular meeting of 21 October 2021. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we may tag team it a little bit. I would just say welcome back, everybody. Dennis kind of mentioned this before we started. Our last meeting was 14 November of 2019, so we've had a kind of a 2-year hiatus, mostly COVID related, and you know, you're gonna probably see, yep, gonna do it. Joe's telling me roll call, so that's right after the welcome back here. Probably should be before.
Should be before.
You're gonna see some rust, so there you go. You're gonna see a little bit of rust. We haven't met for a while. So with that, we're gonna try to ease into it tonight. Should be a fairly quick business meeting, administrative meeting, couple items to talk about. So with that, I'm gonna do a quick roll call. St. John?
Here.
DePalma? Don's not here.
Since so far.
Because I gotta keep I'm the secretary, I gotta keep the minutes too, so that's gonna take me a bit. Patterson?
Here.
Lemieux?
Here.
And I'm Belkey, I'm here. Okay. Please take a look at the agenda that you've been provided and let me know if that is acceptable, and if so, somebody would make a motion.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll second.
Okay. Sorry, I gotta try to keep up.
I'll give you my copy of the fill in the blank agenda.
Okay, I'm sure I've got it someplace.
I thought I gave it to you a long time ago, but I still have it in my computer.
All right. Motion by Patterson, seconded by Lemieux to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passed. First thing I want to do is get your approval of me to conduct the meeting. There it is. Okay, Mr. Palm is here. Great. Thanks, Don, for coming. Because we've got, you know, if you look at the zoning ordinance, it prescribes what the succession or chain of command is here. It's the chair. If the chair gets hit by a bus, then the vice chair takes over, and that's about as far as it goes. It doesn't go beyond that. It doesn't say the secretary can run the meeting. It doesn't say anybody else can run the meeting. So we have Mike as the chair, but we don't have a vice chair, and Mike is going to move out of that position, kind of doing it now as we speak, although he's still in the hot seat up here with the gavel and technically running the show. But as council liaison, with everybody's approval, I'll run the meeting, and then, or I can coach Mike to do it, and so that we can get through with this. So if there's no objections to that, me running the meeting for him, I'd like to hear a motion to that effect.
Make a motion, Belkey run the meeting.
Second.
Okay. All right. This is going to get cumbersome, but I appreciate you working with me here. Okay, motion on the floor to allow me, Belkey, to run the meeting for Mike St. John. Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. So, all right, thank you for that. That'll make things go maybe a little bit easier tonight. Although Mike's going to gavel this out, so he gets the
Good.
He gets a
Hard
big
job.
opportunity. Next thing on the agenda is to approve the ZBA minutes of 14 November. If your memory is that good. While you're taking a look at that, that's about 4 pages, I think, 3 or 4 pages. Again, everything is pretty much administrative or just conducting business. There were no appeals at that meeting. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna pass around just a contact roster so that I can make sure that I've got everybody's updated names, phone numbers, whether you get text messages or not, that kind of stuff. I appreciate everybody answering me back to my emails, but I know some of you guys have got new contact information.
Did you do a sign-in sheet for the office?
You are a wonderful person. That's, yes, I will do that. Because Becky would come after me if I didn't, so.
I stole Becky's. Here, you just fill it out.
You're done.
See, Don, we said we were gonna be
I got
rusty,
another one.
so,
Oh, you got 2?
Okay.
Oh, come in.
I've got an extra pen too if you need it.
And a high load.
And I like it just in case.
I'll pass that this way too, and then we can run it back. All right, I got it.
So, motion to approve the meeting minutes of the regular ZBA meeting of 14 November 2019 as presented.
If, take a minute if some of you guys
It's
are
the one
catching
about the
up.
signage,
Mm-hmm.
about the old signs.
Yeah.
And you.
Yeah, and all that's actually been caught up and resolved.
Yeah,
and So, it just, yeah, I saw that and was like, wow, was that long ago?
Yeah, 2 years. How about that?
Yeah.
Time sure flies when you're having fun.
Okay. There is a motion on the floor to approve the minutes as written. Anybody need more time, or can I get a second?
I second it.
Okay. Dennis, I think I did hear you say that, so sorry about that. Okay, motion on the floor and seconded to approve the agenda as presented of the 19 November 2019 meeting. Wow. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Get that out of the way. I do have, just incidentally, I do have the 18 April meeting minutes that we did approve in November. I've got them here if anybody wants to go back and refresh their memory. Thanks, Christie. Okay, next item on the docket here is ZBA Chair Comments. Mike, you got anything you wanna say?
I can only really apologize for missing meetings, and as a chair, I just can't see myself really being the person for the job, and that's the main
I
thing.
think you
Just
kind of decided job is starting to get
mainly
better.
job. Oh yeah, just everything.
So
It's tough for me to really be in that position to be reliable, to make sure I can make the meeting, to make sure I can do what needs to be done. That's really
Gotcha. Haven't been there, I understand.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly what
put a lot
you're
of time
saying.
in, yeah.
And one of the things we're doing tonight is officer election, so you're,
The
It's
other
good
thing I'm
times.
supposed to do is nominate.
oh, but not yet,
Not yet. Okay.
not yet.
So hear me quiet.
I just wanted, just to refresh everybody's memory, the reason we're doing the semi-annual regular meeting, it's a kind of a goofy term for it, probably a better way to indicate what we're trying to do, but we had gotten approved by council in the budget the ability to meet 2 times a year on a regular, as a regular business meeting. It's really an administrative meeting. Mostly what it's designed to do is kind of keep everybody familiar with each other, keep the group together, make sure that when an appeal comes before us that you've got a constituted group that's able to do something. Just mentioned a couple minutes ago about the fact that I caught wind of a potential appeal case that may come before us at some point in the near future, and then I just started thinking, holy cow, the ZBA hasn't met in about 1,000 years, and we were doing these regular meetings to kind of keep ourselves fresh and the juices flowing a little bit, and then they petered out with the COVID situation. We didn't call any meetings, and they would have been potentially difficult to hold, and so on. So we're trying to crank them back up and get ourselves back together so that we can ensure a review of an appeal if something comes before us here in the near future.
Well, not only that, it keeps your minutes approved timely.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of reasons to do this. I think you guys understand and remember how it works. Some of this is for the camera. Is that normally an appellant, somebody who makes an appeal, pays a fee, and that pays for the salary of you guys to come and sit in a meeting. This is money set aside by council specifically to conduct these things, to keep the machinery kind of cranked up. But Joe is right. You want to. 6 months is a long time to try to remember what happened at the last meeting. Here we just reviewed and approved meeting minutes from 2 years ago. So it's good. It feels good to be back. And as we say, we're a little rusty. So Joe, thanks for stepping in on. Probably the most important thing to everybody tonight is this sign-in roster.
Payroll.
Becky would kill me if I didn't have that. She'd kill me. Okay, that's kind of all I've got to say. We're going to go into the some of the general meeting topics, and the first thing is that I give a drum roll. That's the officer election. So we've got 3 positions that are open and available: secretary, vice chair, and chair. And so I'm going to start on the low end. As a secretary, I'm currently the secretary. I'm also the council liaison. I'm willing to continue to do that if somebody wants to nominate me for the position, or I'm happy to turn it over to somebody else if any of you guys want to take it on. Man, dead silence.
Yeah.
Okay. If you guys are happy with me acting as secretary, so I'm assuming that we will have somebody tonight that is going to be picked as the chair or vice chair, and then I'm going to step out of the coming up with the agenda and running meetings. That's going to be really the job of whoever the chair or vice chair is, and they will instruct me on what they need me to do. Right, so I'll get back out of the role that I'm kind of in tonight. So is there a motion for somebody or for Belkey to remain as the secretary?
I'll make the motion to have Ross Belkey remain as the ZBA secretary.
Thanks a lot, Christie.
I'll second that.
All right.
Do you need a third?
You want to drive that nail in the coffin, don't you?
Only if I force it.
All right. Motion on the floor by Patterson, seconded by Lemieux, for Belkey to remain in the current position of ZBA secretary. All in favor?
Aye.
Do I need to abstain from that? I don't think so.
No.
Brushing that rust off. Against? Nays? Okay. Motion passed. Belkey is it. Thanks for nothing. Okay. No, I appreciate it, and try to do the best job I can for whoever is chair or vice chair. Okay, this is where it gets interesting, because we did get Mike last time to step up and say he would be the chair. We had no vice chair. I suspect that may be the way it is tonight. I don't know that Christie wants it,
Christie
or
can't.
that Don wants it. I don't think
Christie
you
can't
can
be
do it, yeah. That's what I thought. So, you two guys can arm wrestle, maybe. So the position that's open is vice chair. Do I hear a nomination for anybody? Or any discussion?
Who's interested in throwing their hat in the ring?
Yeah,
You gotta remember how seldom you meet
I know.
and how seldom the chair wouldn't be there, so it would have to
Yeah.
fall on the vice chair.
I was just
You
gonna,
could probably never have to do
I
that.
was just gonna say it, but if in fact, somebody couldn't be there, if the chair could not be there, that's where the vice chair would provide some guidance and context to the secretary and the group, if a meeting should come up. Not a bad position, and it's not, you wanna know what's going on, but you're technically, you're once removed, and so you don't have that heavy burden on your shoulders. Anybody interested?
I can throw it in on the vice chair, throw my hat on in the ring, on the chair, whatever you want to do.
So you're willing to be the vice chair?
Yeah, I can try to do that, being that I don't have to be the chair. So
Okay.
it's just harder to do right now. Who
Okay,
knows in the future?
I got it.
I win the lottery on Saturday, I'll have all the time in the world.
Somebody interested in nominating Mike?
Make a motion. Like to be nominated for vice chair.
Second.
All right,
Just FYI, technically Mike should accept.
Oh,
Oh.
I accept the nomination.
Now I second that.
okay, and that's... Okay, motion's on the floor by Lemieux, seconded by Patterson for Mike St. John, who has accepted the nomination as vice chair. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Congratulations.
Gee, thanks. Thank you so much.
You're- All right,
Wait a
and,
minute, no parade?
and finally we have the position of the chair. This is where a lot of the energy for the organization comes out is the chair's position, and secretary is at the behest of the chair to support them in planning the meetings, running the meetings, doing the legwork, if there's appeals and that type of thing. Getting the information out to residents, business owners in the near area of wherever the appeal is, that kind of stuff. So, but it's, the president may have regular communications with people on the appeal about what we can do and what we can't do, how the organization functions, that kind of thing. So it's a bit of a weighty position, and I would ask for anybody who's interested to indicate they're interested, and or a nomination of somebody to be the chair of the ZBA.
Well, as we discussed, there's two of us here that cannot step into those positions.
It makes it a little tough.
One has stepped down,
Yeah,
so.
and accepted
we're looking-
another position.
Right, so we're looking at two.
Gonna
be me.
Dennis.
Dennis is interested, has expressed interest.
I will so nominate
Okay,
Dennis Lemieux for the chair of ZBA.
you better second that pretty quick.
Why don't you second that one, yeah.
Yes, I'll accept it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thanks, Dennis.
Reluctantly, no. A little arm twisting.
Yeah, and I was just, I apologize, Don, I wasn't trying to put you in a position, but that kind of cements it that you're out, by saying that you second. Anyway, there's a motion on the floor by Patterson, supported by DePalma, to have Dennis be the new ZBA chair, and Dennis has indicated that he would accept the position. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Congratulations. All right. So, funny thing happened at a council meeting about a month and a half ago. I just want to run you by a couple things, and then Christie, maybe ask for your thoughts here. So, as the council liaison, as I started to talk to council about, hey, I've gotten wind of a potential appeal now that the appellant has not even come into the village to the offices to indicate what they want to do. So, but it seemed to be that he was on a fast track to try to do something, and he knew that there was going to be a problem, and he was probably going to be called on it, and it would wind up going in planning, and he would wind up taking it to the ZBA. So with that back in June, July, I started looking back at reconstituting the team and trying to find out who wanted to participate, who didn't. Did everybody remember what the ZBA was and where we held our meetings and that kind of stuff? I'm being a little facetious, but council had just approved the transitional overlay district, and so they kind of opened a door of now stepping into a quasi ZBA role, at least for one thing, and they and I know in general, if you don't have an active ZBA, a village council could step into the role and just be the ZBA. So I proposed that to them as a possibility, because there was not a constituted ZBA at the time, or at least one that didn't seem like it was functioning, and that went over like a lead balloon. So then we started talking about what it was required to be able to run a meeting. How many people did you have to have? And at the time, I know you were talking about being out, and Don, you were maybe in, maybe out. You weren't quite sure. And the zoning ordinance says got to have 5. And so I pushed that a couple times, and I started hearing about Zoning Enabling Act, and I wasn't really familiar with the Zoning Enabling Act, because the ZBA, what we really look at is a zoning ordinance as written, and that's what you would judge appeals by. So I was thinking I must have missed something somewhere, because this is what we use. So Jeff got involved a little bit. Jeff Bohorsky, and Becky mentioned it, and Joe, you may have mentioned it. That no, you can do it with 3. And lo and behold, the Zoning Enabling Act of 2006 does in fact say you only need 3 in a municipality that has less than 5,000 people, something like that, which is what we are. So you can run it with less. I was unaware of that. I think on page 232 of the zoning ordinance, that's the only place in the zoning ordinance that mentions the Zoning Enabling Act, and it says this document is complete, other than it is conducted in with respect to these other things. And one was the Enabling Act of 1921. I was pretty sure that everything that was in the 21 Enabling Act was in our zoning ordinance. And then it said the 2006 Enabling Act, but we had updated the zoning ordinance in 2012. So it's kind of scratching my head. Well, did we take all that stuff and put it in there or not? I don't really know. One thing I do know is that the Enabling Act says you shall put this new number of 3 in the zoning ordinance, and it's not there. So, I missed it, but it is in effect, and we can run a meeting with 3. So, we've gone back, we've cleared that up with council, everybody's happy. What I left council with, though, and Michelle does have some advertisements out for ZBA members, is I think we get ourselves into potentially a lot of trouble if we ever get down to 3 members. So you can run it with 3 members, but you can imagine maybe it's Dennis, it's you, it's Christie, it's me. She's gonna hear something in planning, or I'm gonna hear something in council, and we're gonna have to abstain, and then it's an army of one, right? And we, so more members is better.
Sure.
It really kind of puts us in a pickle. So I'm very happy that you guys are sticking around. I would ask you to stick around. As I think Joe hit the nail on the head. You really don't get together all that often. So suck it
I
up.
don't think she said it like that.
Well, no, she didn't. She was much more diplomatic and tactful. But I think it's good to have more members, especially if it's a weighty issue that is politically charged and so on. I think if you're down to 3 members and you're trying to, and I understand why they would allow 3, but it just makes it tough for this group, because if we, she and I could abstain if you 2 guys were here, because then you have a group of 3 and there's nobody that's in jeopardy because of another position, and the appeal could go forward. You could conduct the meeting with less than 5, 3, or even 4. It just makes it tough, and you make those decisions. And then I could almost see that going. And I know we make semi-judicial decisions that have the effect of law, but I would have to think that somebody, if they really wanted to jump ugly about it, could challenge it, because it's really very few people making that final decision. And how do you know that they're not all complicit and against me or something? I don't know. Just more people's better. I would leave you with that. So if you know anybody who's interested, or anybody's interested on camera, it's fascinating stuff, but you don't meet a whole lot. So that's why we do the regular meetings. At least we kind of keep together and keep fresh. The other thing is, if there's ever an opportunity to stick anything that's in the Enabling Act in the, next time you guys do your update, may have the planner go through and say, okay, what do we got to put in here? Because right now, I would have to say, if an appeal comes in, look at your zoning ordinance, and oh, by the way, you got to look at your Enabling Act, because there may be stuff in conflict, and then which one takes precedence. That's probably a slim chance that would happen, but the case of, is it 5, is it 3? We wound up with 3 or 4 council meetings trying to figure that one out, and Shazam,
It's really a living document though, so it kind of
Yeah.
changes throughout the years, right?
Yeah, it does.
Down in Ray Township, they've got a thing in there about pole barns, you can't live in them, right? Well, barn dominiums are becoming kind of a popular thing, right? That's a pole barn, right?
Yeah.
So but it specifically says no to that. So that's gotta be, if they want to allow it, they have to change that.
Yeah. Well, it's just the biggest thing that I'm concerned about is simply that and the reason why I'm spending a little bit of time on it is, without a whole lot of knowledge about the Zoning Enabling Act, and I gotta confess, I wouldn't look on page 232 and see that, I gotta consider that. I wouldn't do it. I just look at the zoning ordinance to make an appeal decision, what's in there and what's not in there, what's it say we can do and not do, and then and I may make an error in judgment because the Enabling Act says something different. And if somebody wants to, if they were aware of all this stuff, they could go legal on us, and they might say, it says it here.
Does everybody have a current planning commission or zoning ordinance book?
I know she does. I do. I'm pretty sure you guys have access to it. It is on the village website. The thing is, there's not really a reference right in the front that says, oh, by the way, look at the Enabling Act 2, which is about 30-some pages. Most of it, I've kind of breezed through it. Most of it does not apply, but there is some stuff that probably applies. So if somebody walks in and they want to, get a building permit, somebody, hopefully Becky's saying, well, look at our zoning ordinance online. Oh, by the way, look at the Enabling Act. I don't know that they do that, so we may miss something. That's my principal concern, because I missed it, right? I missed the fact that we could have 3. Beyond that, it's plannings to decide, but it was interesting that we did an update in 2012, and none of that stuff seemed to be incorporated, other than the reference on page 232, that you gotta consider that stuff too. And so, if we do have an appeal, I will make sure that, in fact, I'll send it to all you guys, the Enabling Act. I would take a look at it, and it could factor in to a decision.
So when you say you're looking for people, are you looking to increase the members from 5 to 7, or are you just looking for alternates?
I take alternates too. I mean, right now we have no active alternates. I would love for you to be an alternate officially. I know you kind of wanted to get out of that, but
Yeah, 23 years is a long time.
I got it. You have, as they say in the Army, you have done your duty.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to go back to this person that I like a whole lot, Joe Adair, who said that, well, you don't get together all that often. So, and since you're here with Channel 6, you just keep the
I
camera
don't know
rolling.
that the two of us can both be on, because we're both on council.
But you're a non-voting council member, so I don't know that matters. See, that would be, we can ask Jeff.
Yeah.
I would maintain it doesn't matter. You can put your opinion out at council, but you don't vote on it. And so I would not think that would
You and I were both on it a few years ago.
Yeah.
We both still running.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
no, you weren't on council at that time, were you? I don't
I
think
think
you were. I think Sam was.
maybe Sam was. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the.
Spouse doesn't count.
Yeah, that's it's somewhat frustrating, because you look at the rules and you see the small group, and it's just like, oh, this.
Just if you're gonna raise it from 5 members to 7, because getting to 7, keep your quorum straight.
Yeah.
There's paperwork we have to file through council to increase those members.
Yeah, I would like to have 7 members and 2 alternates identified, and then now that's a healthy group. And if something happens and Christie or I got it, we abstain, we're out of it. There's enough of a group to have a conversation and debate the issue, and hopefully everybody comes to the same conclusion. It's just when it's 3 people, it's, I don't know, anything that goes sideways and it could stop everything. So that's the only principal concern I have. I probably should have asked you guys. I'll do it now. This is Rust again. We kind of all approve the agenda as written, but is there any maybe I do it under board comments, because you'll have an opportunity. That's where I'll do it. And I apologize that I'm kind of fumbling with this a little bit. It's been a while. So I would propose that the next ZBA regular meeting date, we'll calendar it, and that way, in theory, it's out there. We all see it coming. 6 months from now, which is the whole semi-annual nature, would put it on 21 April of, and I got 2020 here. That would be 2021. So.
No, 22.
22.
So, and I'm gonna, since I'm saying it now, I'm gonna adjust the agenda, and just so everybody knows, I'm gonna adjust the agenda to 2021. I won't have to come back next time.
2022.
22.
Gosh, darn it.
20, see, 20, yeah.
Oh, I should probably stop while I'm ahead. 2022. Thank you. 2022. So that's about 6 months down the road. Any thoughts about that? Right now it's a mark on the wall. I'll get it on the village calendar. I'll be bugging you as we get close, but we can shift the meeting date as we get closer, depending upon what people have.
Another Thursday night, is that a Thursday?
It's a Thursday,
Yeah.
yep, Thursday night. And Thursday just kind of, I think that's what everybody said, they were least busy. I know all of you guys are busy, but you were least busy that night, and it keeps us clear of other stuff going on in the room here. So if nobody's got any objections, then I don't know that we need a motion on it. I'm just gonna set the date as 21 April 2022 as the next regular ZBA meeting, and I'll just send you all the reminder and I'll get it on the calendar. Any final thoughts on that? Okay, I would entertain any citizen comments. We have no citizens, so Joe, any?
No, I think I put it in enough.
No,
No, all, like I say, Becky will be very happy, and you guys will be too, because she'll get the sign-in roster. Okay, I'm gonna open it up to the board. We're actually doing pretty good. I kinda gave 45 minutes, and we're at about 38 minutes or so for the meeting. Any comments from the board? Mr. Board Chair, anything you wanna say?
Well, question, how soon do you think the possible appeal will be made? Any idea yet?
I'm not gonna mention it on camera. I think I've talked to you a little bit about it.
Mm.
I understood it was gonna, because I expected you to get nominated as chair. I believe it's this year, and it might be worth going down and exploring with that person what the issue is.
Mm.
I don't think it's that complicated an issue. I've indicated that they will have to come in and show what the harm is to them,
Right.
where they're
Hardship.
disadvantaged. That's what they're gonna have to do. We'll look at what's in the zoning ordinance, and then based upon how grievous the harm is, that's either where he's gonna get his, we'll give it to him or not, right? But person did indicate, he indicated that he was trying to do it this year. I suspect, if it gets pushed back, I assume it's because construction plans will not have been done, or he can't get something started. It's no surprise. We had the tornado in July, and they're coming out to do my building next week, finally, do the brickwork. So everybody's behind, and that may push them to into the new year, new calendar year. Any other comments?
Like I said, we really don't meet that often, so it's probably a good idea to meet every 6 months.
Well, that's why we did it. Now, and you can alter that if you want to, and I just recommended that because it was kind of a happy medium between excessively meeting. I thought maybe every quarter might be a little bit too much. Council likes to, watches the money, and what we could do. So I thought semi-annually would make sure that we all recognized who the other person was, and we just kind of remembered why we were here and what we were doing, and then you can take care of any administrative business, like Joe said, approving the minutes. You start to trust me. I ran around tonight trying. Did we do the minutes? Did we not do the minutes? Did we? Joe hit me up about, well, should I be there with the camera? And I said, no, I don't think so. Well, I'll put it to the group, and then I'm looking online, and we're televised the last meeting. It's like, well, we already approved this, so I can't say no, because and it's a good idea the camera's here, but it just shows you my memory is fallible. So you could potentially do it 3 times a year, quarterly. I mean, quarterly's not bad, and if you're interested in that, you and I would just approach council and say, hey, we need more.
Yeah, because you gotta talk to me about budgeting.
Yeah. Well, and we always come to Joe and say, is there extra money here or there? But, and then I will simply work with you as we approach that date, or if there's any altered dates, I'll work with you to set up the agenda. You and I just get together and say, hey, here's what I want to talk about, or here's the issues that we've got to deal with. And not to put you on the spot, but any objectives, or shouldn't even ask. It's unfair because you just got it. But maybe that's something to talk about at the next meeting. or you could potentially have a meeting sooner to, you know, say, all right, I thought about it, I'm the chair, here's some things I'd like to do, to try to do.
Well, it's always a good thing to, you know, pass on guidelines of what the role of ZBA is and how to prove a hardship, you know,
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
How it's done, so many cases that are done like that.
yes. No, I agree. We did do some things in our administrative capacity, not during the appeal meetings, but in fact, the last time we met for appeals was back in October of 2018, and we had 3 appeals at the same time, and that's the last time we've met with any appeals. And so we've done some administrative things. We revamped the appeal paperwork. We kind of had a cover letter that talked about where the burden of proof is and so on, to make sure that the appellant knew that they had, you know, that our job is to follow the zoning ordinance as written, and their job is to show us where something's wrong and the impact on them. And then those are the 2 things we weigh. Is it significantly impact them to not be allowed to do something, or is it a minor thing, and in which case then we're gonna follow the zoning ordinance. And so it would be good to do that. We did the signs.
Yeah.
We kind of worked that out. It was ambiguous, as you remember, in the zoning ordinance, who kind of does it, and we wrapped that all up. So there was an opportunity to kind of fix some stuff.
Clean up, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Dennis's idea of getting, you know, when you've got a board, and like especially some of them are relatively new, maybe not even in time, you've been here a while, but you haven't had that many appeals, to make, the board needs to be aware that it's your responsibility to go out and investigate that appeal. You go to that property, you look at what the appeal is about, take pictures if you can, and that just covers your butts immensely.
Right. Well, and I know Joe knows, and I think the rest of you guys know, depending upon what the appeal is, we send notices out to property owners or businesses in the vicinity of where the appeal address is, and tell them, hey, you can come in and you can address the board. You know, somebody may, you know, be in favor of the appeal going through because it's not harming, my neighbor's not harming me, or yeah, it harms me a lot, right? And so there's a bit of a process, as you guys remember, to doing it. And but Joe's right, yeah. We get the information that comes out in advance, and then you investigate, and then you come to the meeting. So that may be an opportunity, Dennis, to get us together a little bit sooner and just go over stuff, and then you, me, and Joe can work on, okay, can we find the money to do that? I mean, I think that makes sense to do, especially since, again, it's been 2 years, we're maybe rusty on what's the process, how do we do it, how do we make a decision, and what's the weight of a decision. Like I said, we're making a semi-judicial decision that could overturn everybody else. The planning commission, the council could overturn everybody. Technically, I guess we could overturn Jeff if he gives an option. You know, well,
You're a quasi-motor court.
Yeah.
The only thing is the court, circuit court.
It's really the final decision for the
Municipality.
as the village. Doesn't mean that somebody can't go out in a huff and go legal and take us to court on it. But in most cases, unless the ZBA has fumbled it, court's going to side with the ZBA.
Probably your next semi-annual meeting would be a good idea to go through all that. Let's go through the packet that we used to do.
Yeah.
You know, look at the content of it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's everything in there from index to the application itself, the ordinance, the appeal in writing from the applicant, and then all of the backup data.
Yep.
The 300-foot radius,
Yep.
So everybody that's in that appeal knows who those letters went to.
Yeah,
And see if there's something we wanna change, something we wanna add, something.
I think it's an excellent
Redundant.
idea, and,
That's
you
a good idea, Dennis. We'll
Dennis
do that.
will leave it up to you to guide, to guide that, and then to decide on the timing of it. The good news is, the incentive for anybody that's interested in becoming a member is, you get paid for your time if we come in, and I would certainly go to bat on council to come up with the extra money to pay for an additional meeting out of the year or two, because it's, when you need the ZBA, you need the ZBA, and if it's not prepared, doesn't understand the process, hasn't met in a long time, kind of like where we are now, potentially impacts the quality of the decision. So I think it's worth 3 or 4 shekels that you guys got, to come to an additional meeting to do that. So any other comments from anybody on the board about anything tonight, or suggestions to Dennis, or you all want to get out of here?
Let's think, which do we wanna do?
That was
Too many options.
that was kind of a weighted. All right. With that, then, no additional board comments. I would entertain
Congratulations,
a
everybody.
motion
Thank you.
to adjourn, and you get to bang the gavel.
And meeting is adjourned. No, not yet. Sorry.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion
Oh,
to
motion.
adjourn the
Okay.
ZBA meeting
Okay.
at 7:48.
Anderson,
She
second.
didn't get the call.
And De Palma, 7:48. Palma. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pounded. All right. Thank you very